Awesome.
Let's get it.
Guys, welcome to the 4th edition. I don't know if you can see the tone that I have right now because I'm so excited to have this amazing character on our podcast. And I've written down some things that is supposed to be the intro, but just having, a 30-minute chat from where he lives to where we live. It's not gonna do justice to the type of person that we have on the podcast today. But I'm gonna give it a go. So today on the 4th edition of the AIM podcast, we have Turner Adams, former convicted felon, who spent 18 years in prison, former general of the 28th gang, and who is now a community activist for the community of Lavender Hill, does countless amounts of charity work, helping to uplift the community that he holds so dear. He's an actor, model, and to be honest with you, from the very first time I met him, just such a beautiful person with so many stories to tell, and we are so excited to have him with us today. So where we want to start, Turner, is right at the beginning, where you were born and raised, and what that was like for you.
Yeah, thank you guys. My name is Turner Adams. I was born in Cape Town, District 6.
Yeah.
I'm 57, was born 1964. I'm a Virgo. And I had a good upbringing, very strict Roman Catholic upbringing. And as the years gone by, I just kind of found out that we must go out of the house and they put it in Lavender Hill. When I moved from District 6, I went to school at a convent. I was tutored by nuns. You know what I mean? And it was so very strict that whenever you do something wrong, they send you into church to do 10 rosaries or do a prayer. That was your like, you know,
Punishment.
your punishment, yeah. And I never knew what it was to hurt somebody or to get hurt because I was in such a well-secured family that, and I didn't get hiding from my mom or my dad. It was always my grandma who used to pinch my butt if I did anything wrong, but that was in the younger days. And when we came to Lavender Hill, I had to adapt to Lavender Hill, and Lavender Hill was almost like in the backyard of nowhere. You get people that lived in shanties. We were the first people who lived in brick houses, actually, in courts. It was the only courts in Lavender Hill. Lavender Hill, the name before Lavender Hill was RSA. RSA.
Is dit dan 'n goeie naam vir die plek?
Ja, het was RSA, maar Lavender Hill was afgebouwd. En Lavender Hill is 'n straat in District 6 geweest. Het is 'n Klipjebelstraat. You know, it's a stone, a cobblestone street. The only one maybe in District 6. Still standing here. Just down the road of Holy Cross where I went to school. And when I came into Lavender Hill, I had to adapt. And for the first 5 years or so, I couldn't adapt to the way of life, because if you speak English in Lavender Hill those days, they used to eat and say you were sturvy. I didn't know what was sturvy.
Sturvy?
What kind of a name they give me? What is sturvy? And I always used to ask my parents, Mommy, what is sturvy? And they say, I'm a sturvy. And whenever I speak English, they hit me on the head. Hey, you pick the sturvy.
Yeah.
So I came to understand.
What age were you at when you moved to Lavender Hill?
I was at the age of between 11 and 12.
Oh, and what was the reason for moving to Lavender Hill?
You know, the government just decided like the 60 people must move out, you know. Okay. Okay, I don't know why or whatever, but we just moved. You know, I was a kid, I didn't understand these things. I just went with it. You know what I mean? My parents went and I also went. But when I came into Lavender Hill, I couldn't adapt to the way of Lavender Hill because I heard they swearing was a norm, and you know, fighting was a norm, all these things that I wasn't used to. I had to get used to it. And I went to school there, I went to a convent, school in Cape Town. When I came to Lavender Hill, I sat next to a girl, you know, a girl and a boy next to each other. And that, you know, that took a whole bit of adapting. I never sat next to a girl from sub A to standard 3. And from standard 3 we moved there and I couldn't sit next to a girl, right? I was naturally mischievous. I was mischievous. Like they say in Afrikaans, ik like spoetsebak.
Yeah.
Humor was something that we loved with.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
I wanted to ask you, do you think that your good upbringing and then also going to a convent and learning sort of good principles on how to be a good human, do you think that helped you when you moved to Lavender Hill to still be, let's say, a strong human inside?
well, let me tell you something. The upbringing I had in District 6, when the schooling I had in a convent, that kept me human. To put it like that, because if you look back to me, thank you, good morning, greeting, and saying thank you, please, all those things that was instilled in us. You couldn't smoke or swear in front of an elderly person because they could have reprimanded you those days, and we didn't do things in front of elder people also because, like they say, it takes a community to raise a child. I never understood those words. But today, really today, I understand why it is that the community must raise a child.
Yeah.
And when you became into Lavender, it was a whole other system. Because here, you could swear, you could do things. There was gangsters, they had these knives and machetes and pangas, as we call them. We used to fight hand-on-hand combat, and I wasn't used to those that life.
What is it like to live in that fear of walking outside of your house where you don't know what's going to happen? There's no guarantee of security. I just want to go here, or what is that like?
What made it for me so very dangerous for me is because you don't know your next neighbor, you don't know the opposite neighbor, because all of them come there to different places in District 6. So you chat into a heap of strangers. So you had to go from the beginning again, learning the children's names, learning their surnames, learning the people from the very start again. That made me very afraid because I was so used to Cape Town that I'm become part and parcel of Cape Town, and I had the mentality of Cape Town and the respect and the discipline that went with it. But in Avenue, because I was always, bullied, I always complained about my stepfather, then my mom and my father went at each other, and my stepdad was, also ex-gangster of District 6, but they were very disciplined gangsters. But he told me, if I'm going to come into the house again and cry and complain about people hitting me, and I'm doing nothing about it, he's going to hit me also. So that's where I started hitting back. And when I started hitting back, and I felt like the power that came with it, if I beat somebody in a fight, and then I get like a achievement of its own. Because then it was not afraid actually, but they didn't come to me and try and hit me or say I'm a sturdy anymore.
Yeah.
When that word went out of the window, sturdy, I grew into adapting in Lavender's way. And so that made me go with the flow of Lavender. And in Lavender was a lot of gangsters that was back in the day. And
so you're saying like that was actually so the way that I'm thinking about it is in Lavender Hill, a lot of the times people don't have much to look forward to, right? Much to achieve and feel good about that. But in a way, the aggression and fighting and doing things that people don't actually want to do gave you a sense of achievement, made you feel good about yourself.
Yeah, of course, because let me tell you, it took, I think for me it took maybe part of 6-7 years to adapt, really to adapt and get used to the atmosphere of Lavender. Till this day also I can't still feel that this is a place where I belong. Because if I go back and reminisce, then it's always about Cape Town. and the environment of Cape Town, because we had such a versatile community, where we grew up in, and you get used to that way of life. And Lavender was the other, because the people were always of separate minds, There's only the one you to play in that world, there's only you to mix with that children. You had to go up to the father and mother said, the naughty, like you mustn't mix with them. And that took me quite a time to adapt to it, because I was of this mind that children were children, and we played together. But at the end of the day, we always had a fight because there was always conflict.
Yeah. So tell me, when did the being incarcerated? When did you start going into the criminal system?
Well, I was the other side of 12 years old, you know what I mean, and there I met friends who went into shops and shoplifted, This was actually a norm that they done when we go to school. We went always to a shop, like 5, 6 of us, and then we shoplifted there. And that's how I came to meet with the law, what I mean, such. And I'm telling you that since the day I was first arrested and I was locked up, it had such an impact on me that I can't explain it actually really, but because of being mischievous, I got away with the first case. They gave me hiding, back in the day you get hiding at the court, and I was found guilty in a court of law 44 times. I'm sitting here, and I was a boy of just getting 16 when I get prison. I was sent to prison when I was actually just becoming 16 because I had this big record. And whenever we were in trouble, I was always the one who stood there and said, no, it was me. I took the blame on myself, and the others I didn't take them with me, you know what I mean? And that it was something that I took upon myself, that if we're going to do something naughty and they're going to catch us, like I'm going to be the one who's going to stand there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always thought that I'll get away with it just with the hiding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when I was at the age of 15 going to 16, the magistrate told me, but look at you, we didn't give you every time a small push. But now you become, you've got a record that is more heavier than a man that is far older than you, and you're still so young. And we're going to begin to give you a harder push, and we're going to send you to prison.
And that was at the age of 16.
That was the age of 16. I was read by the reformatories,
Yeah.
Porter School. I was there, and Porter School, the reformatory is so much harder and aggressive than prison itself, because we were a lot of young boys living in one environment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we were always in competition with the other, who can be better first than the other one,
Yes.
And I had to endure all these things, hiding was almost like an everyday thing.
Yeah.
It was a norm.
Yeah.
You had to get hiding every day, and that made me get used to, and it hardened me, because I was used to being hit upon, or I was used to being hitting others, and
At what point, just to go to the prison gangs, which is so notorious, everybody hears it, everybody, as soon as they hear it, become fearful of that situation. At what point did you start going into that gang life?
let me tell you one thing, brother, it was fearless, because they always talk about they're cutting your head off, skinning you alive, and all those things, eating your heart, all those things that I always heard of.
Yeah.
And I was very fearful. When I came into prison for the first time, from day one, there was people who came to me and they hit me on my buttocks and they put their hand in my face and like you do with a chick, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was the thing that I was very adamant about, arguing with it. And because I was on the reformatory, I was from young up, I was a kind of a leader, always to stand in front, always to take the blame on me. You know what I mean? And so it wasn't necessary for me just to stand up and say, look at you, what on me looks like a woman, man. You tell me this, I can cut the hair. Because you guys didn't want to sort of mind what was happening. My stepfather was also ex-convict, you know what I mean? And he used to tell me about prison and what he done in prison, but it's far more offensive when you hear it or as you experience it. Because my experience was as such. Those times the warders, they asked your name and you still struggling to say your name, you had a slap in your face, man. They said, Naam, you had to give your name, surname, you had to give your surname, and address, you had to give it. If by any way you hiccup, they think you're lying because I asked your name and to come and just turn it, you know what I mean? And give you that, give you a slap, you know. So if you couldn't answer them properly, they would have beaten you, you know, because the people didn't see how we were treated inside the prison. Prison wasn't so open up to the communities. My people always thought the dinner is right, the law is right. The law won't catch you if you didn't do wrong. And the warden in prison, they said they were right. How people believe that. If you like a law in the army or whatever, those were the right people. And we were like becoming young scholars, we just chanted away and said, you don't want to hear because we were delinquents, you know. The early age I was rebellious against this, staying in Lavender and not seeing Cape. We only saw Cape maybe on a weekend or something like that, you know. And I miss those things that was always, was in front of me every day, you know what I mean. So,
talk to me about that initial stage of becoming part of the numbers gang and also being in, that's the highest level, the 28?
No.
Or is it just different things that they do?
No, you know what, actually it began the history of number gangs. You can go back to when the white people found out that there's gold under the ground. And minerals under the ground. So they didn't want to dig. So they had to have people to dig it. And those were, at that time, they took it under false contract, whatever. People died in the mine there. So the people, when they're not in the mines, they were separatists. Because a closer was a closer, he didn't mix with a Zulu, and a Pondu, a Tswana. They were all separate people. But when in prison, we had to have a cohesion because we slept like 30 people in a room of different parts of life, you know. So you color, you get the Indian, a Muslim, whatever. But we had to live together. We had to adapt to the, the way of life, togetherness. But that togetherness wasn't like you feel okay by family or like that. You so were fearful that you might be a victim or whatever because you didn't know what these people were. They always took care of the guys that was good thinkers. Guys that had we always called it they had an oomph to take a warden. You know, those were people they were looked up to. And when I found this out, I said, hey, but then, you're going to be, every night you're going to be asked to get fucked. No, wait, man. Let me get a knife, man, and show these guys that I'm not a better talker. I'm also a doer. You know what I mean?
So what did you have to do?
I had to stay with water. You know what I mean? And that changed my whole life around because you know what? The waters, they came at me, my brother. I never knew you could hurt so much that you can't even shout. Now, whatever, because like 20 waters hitting you with batons. For what one I'm going to say, ouch, so you didn't have the option to say ouch, because 20 waters hit you on one time. Sooner or later you're gonna go out and go there. But one thing of me, to get unconscious, I don't know why it is. they always used to if you're unconscious, do it unconscious. But
You could take it.
I didn't get so quick unconscious because now I saw him. I'm laying, paralyzed, he's paralyzed, and I see the blood comes to my face. I can't pull my face away because, I'm numb.
Yeah.
And these were things that hardened me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes you used to getting hiding. Like in the reformatory, we used to go to Kai reformatory. You had, every day you got hiding, or every day you most probably fought. So it was, I got addicted to it.
Oh.
And that's why on the reformatory already, there was the head of our, we call it like you had the sport house, space bone house, that were different. There was 4 kind of hostels where we were separated in, like in your surname. My surname is Adams, so it comes first, you know what I mean? And so I was in Porter school, and there was the officer there that told me, because I took up judo when I was a kid in the 60s, and I used to grab you know what I mean? Take you in you can have a grip. And that didn't allow that kind of fighting on the reformatory. They said you must fight with the fist. I couldn't. And I had to go through a lot of punishment before and when this, the head of our, hostel told me, look here, I'm going to put up your name for boxing because I see you're going to use your hands. And so he put my name up in boxing, and there was a officer at the Navy. I still remember his surname, Kalakoda. Today he's doing it legally, teaching people how to box. And since that day, when I began to learn how to use my fists, that was almost like a starting point of, I'm left, so you never expect me. You know what I mean? I'm
Southpaw.
I'm a southpaw, you know what I mean? But I couldn't fight right and left. I was versatile in the sports, so I used to kick left and right. I can right, left and right. Till today also, I can't use a phone with my left hand, I'm using my right hand. It was easier. And scissors also, I can't cut with my left hand because all the scissors are made for the right hand. If you cut with the left hand, it's going to be
upside down.
Downside up, So my leftness was actually a advantage to me whenever I fought, because I always used to see with the right hand, and when you try and you want to go for the right hand, I'm left. You know what I mean? Then you open up to me.
Talk to me about the types of, like, how many fights would you get in prison? Would it be like a daily thing? Would it be?
It's a daily thing, it's a continuous thing, and because we have had seeing how strong you are, seeing how much pain you can take. It was like that, you know what I mean? And I was being molded into someone who could have taken pain. I was gradually, the first time when I got the idea was from my stepdad, and my stepdad, he used to hit me with anything in front because he told me this, you want to be a scholar now, I'm going to treat you like a scholar. And so I became, because I understood what it was to get hiding, you know what I mean? And when I was in prison back in the day, they didn't take any shit from you, the orders, they were on you, Maru. And, they, back in the day also, if you went out of prison, those days, you didn't come back to prison again because the way the horses is, but not only like the inmates, and the orders also.
Would you say that it was more of the harshness came from the people who were inmates with you, or from the wardens who were obviously?
No, I would say it comes from the inmates, you know what I mean?
The inmates and the harshness.
Because it was almost like a ritual you go through. You have to show your manhood by being, can fight and can harm people. You were, how can I say, you were measured by that. You know, if you stab the water, oh, well, everybody, they took a wrong turn when you come face to face with you because I learned a lot of things. I learned how to carry my knife in my arse. I learned all these things, you know what I mean? How can you hide things away from the waters, you know?
I'm sorry, but how do you carry a knife in your arse?
Easy, my mate.
But there's a sharp point.
I know, man. We cover the sharp points, do you? And let me tell you something. What I've learned in prison, if you make a knife in prison, it won't penetrate clothes. It's not honed. But yeah, a knife you buy in a shop is a honed knife. Yeah. We used to smuggle the honed knives in prison. You know what I mean? Through the court or through the warders, right? Then we must close the knife. The knife is closed at the end.
Oh, okay.
Because it was a knife that you can open and close.
Oh, okay.
That's why then we turn it plastic and, you know.
Yeah, how do you make shanks? Or like, how do you make those knives in
You know, first of all, you got windows like our house windows. There's a brass thing that open the window and close the window. We first took that, you know. They take lighters, you know, the silver thing of the light on top. They broke it off and make it sharp, and then we burn it into a toothbrush. Then you got the bloody knife, but it's just this small point that can stab you. So we didn't stab you on your clothes, we stabbed you on open places so you can bleed.
And it's like multiple stab wounds.
Yeah.
That's savage. It's rough.
We were so, like, we were at each other. It's almost like, we had to be better than the other one, and we were competing for nothing because we were all incarcerated. But
do you think that competition comes from a place of, let's say, not having anything to do? It's almost like a bit of a boredom.
Yeah, it comes from place that you grew up. You know, because when I grew up in 36, there was scouts you had to go to, brigade you had to go to, all the boy classes, all the your daily, like I say, your daily time was budgeted as such that you never had time to be on your own and to think shitty things, you know what I mean? But in St. Lavender, there wasn't those things about scouts and brigades, and they wasn't there. And so we had much time on our hands to think what we were doing. First it was throwing dogs and, you know, hurting dogs, and it began there. And so we came to each other because they were staying across the field and we were staying this side across the field. You know, we were in one school together, but when we come out of school, we separated, brother. You come to our turf, you see what we do with you. And that was the mentality as I was growing up, you know what I mean?
It's a wantingness, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a wantingness to feel like you
belong.
Yeah,
because you know your family is staying in house.
Yeah,
you're a different person. Then I have adapted becoming turner of my mom and my father's house, and outside they called me back in the day Spirit, but I had to go into that mold of character. You know what I mean? Spirit was the man who took shit, you know what I mean? And I hurt you, and end of story. I mean, and that was our mentality that we were molded into. Slowly it began, you know, slowly, but, you know, because I was somebody who wanted to belong to, you know, a strong group, I took it a few paces faster than the normal guy, you know what I mean? And from a youngster, I became that the other youngsters listened to me, you know, sort of a leader. It was
definitely.
It was inborn already in me, you know. Because when I went to school from sub A up to standard 3, I was always first in class. I was always first in whatever we've done in school and or in sports, you know what I mean?
Spirit.
Yeah. And when I became a gangster, first outside, you know, a lot of the guys looked at me because I had that I did the guts to face you, man. I know, man, you got the knife, I got the knife, right? You don't know I'm listening. There's the own surprise because on top of you know what I mean? And I killed a young boy at the age of 15, my first month, because we were fighting with knives, me and him. And he was so surprised when I stabbed him, but I just stabbed him one wound, on the side, but I stabbed the artery of him. That goes to the heart, the thick artery, it comes down here. I stabbed that thing off, and by starting to get into hospital, he died. Yeah. So that was my first time that I heard somebody who died. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
did that bring a big change within you? Did that make you very, very hard in a way?
that boosted my aggression.
It boosted your aggression.
Yeah, it boosted my aggression because now, everybody's looking up to me going, hey, this guy is fought with the knife and all these things, you know what I mean? But if you get your opponent, you know your opponent is going to hit you, And the reformative learned me that, boxing learned me also that you get into a 22 square meter, like a boxing ring they call it, but it's a 22 square meter, and you're going to fight against your opponent. You can't just think you're going to hit alone. Your opponent is also going to hit you. So they learn you in the gym how to absorb punishment. And that molded me more into, getting used to how I must duck and dive or whatever. And it made me sharper than the average guy, you know what I mean?
It's almost as if your journey all the way from being an altar boy and all of those things to being a general in the 28, there was so much training that actually made it so that you were highly equipped to be a general of the 28.
Let me tell you something, back in the day in prison, when I went to prison, you got the majority of the guys who was in prison was illiterate. They couldn't read and write, and that had done to them. Write them letters, read their letters, so all these things, you know what I mean? And from then on, they, treated me more with respect, and they also knew that I would fight. Whenever they came talking about my honest, and I would fight them, you know what I mean? Because I just couldn't get it that, hey, this guy wants me to be like a lady in the night. Well, I was questioning myself with all these things. But nevertheless, you get verbally abused, physically abused, mentally, all the abuses you can find in the book, you get it in prison. You know what I mean? And that in itself, during the day, as a usual day, you go and eat, the water's always there. But when it's lockup time, they put a mask on, and only the head of prison or the assistant head of prison can get that mask and open up. Now, if we begin to eat you now, it's going to take them most probably an hour, half an hour to get these guys to come and unlock the mask so they can open up the place where we are fighting. When they come there, it's too late, my brother. Then we've done what we want to do. You know what I mean? And that made people more awesome. The more you get hit, the more you get hit, the better you adapt to the way of hitting or getting hurt. You know what I mean? And it was like that. We expected to be hurt. You're going to do anything in prison back in the day. You're going to do anything in prison. It's going to be in the line of aggressiveness. The warders are going to come at you, my brother. You can stab now, ex-inmate, inmate of you, co-inmate, you can stab him. But when you finish stabbing, it's a warder's time. Because now you show almost a knife away and all these things. Now they have the knife. Now they at you, my brother.
Oh.
Now they at you. You check. I mean,
It's
hardens you, man.
it's actually so clever. Like a lot of the things that gets done, there's a lot of thought that goes into it. Even though it's doing terrible things, but there's a lot of thought. Okay, cool, he's thrown the knife away. Now's our opportunity to strike. It's actually quite clever. And you were speaking in the car about having studied psychology and studying law. Talk to me a little bit about the psychology of what people do to instill fear?
As simple as it might sound, to instill fear is not so a big thing.
Okay.
Because you know what? Every one of us as human beings live with fear. There's some sort of fear inside of you. You're afraid of something of sorts. It comes from your childhood days. You know what I mean? And to instill fear is, we've learned to strategize it. You know what I mean? Because we were in groups. We were used to being gangsters outside. Now in prison also, we collect each other in groups and we attack you in a group. You know, and you see 10 people attacking you, each one with a knife. You're going to bloody fear for your life, bro. You know what I mean? And that changes a lot of people's attitude. You know what? Because I saw in prison back in the day that a good youngster that comes into a good family background, comes into good principles, his life changes to no return because he gets abused, he gets mentally abused, physically abused, sexually abused. Later he comes to that stage where he doesn't think nothing more of himself. You know what I mean? Because he says, yeah, no, but I must do what they say you must do. They give you a heap of clothes to wash, you're going to wash it because you're afraid of getting hiding, you know. You're not the kind that, like, I was molded into coming used to getting sore. I was afraid of hiding, you can imagine. I was so afraid, but being hit every day, right through, you get the adaptation. In mind, so you know you're going to get hurt. But then again, it's about who's going to win in this hurt and hurt position, you know what I mean? And I was very, how can I say, adaptable to that. It almost fit me like a glove because I was a boxing training. You know, if you train as a boxer, then you learn how to coordinate your aggression. Because if you get cross, you get blind. Now you just want to go in and to someone. But in boxing, you have to set the size. You know what I mean? If he goes right around, you go left around, whatever. I was a southpaw because I'm left, but I could fight both ways. Now, it's just all about shifting your body's weight. Just the angle it in. When somebody hits you also to your face, I've learned that when the fist is near to me, then I just do this and he hits me on the head with his bare fist. His knuckles will break, man. And you start taking his hand with soreness, then I come at him. You know what I mean? You know, your jaw has got no muscle on it. If you touch your jaw like this, it gives answer in top of your head. So whenever you hit a guy, lick on the jaw, it's KO. That's all you learn in boxing. You learn the weak point of hitting somebody. You know what I mean? In the thorax, you know? In the stomach or in the rib cage, you know what I mean? That's why you see a boxer, they say, guards up. He keeps his hands by his chin and his elbows in. He shifts it in because you duck into it. And when he hits, you see my chin is still guarded. Uppercut also is guarded. You know what I mean? That's the technique of boxing. And I've learned that in boxing, you know, and that made me unafraid to go and fight with because I fought with the opponent in the box circle and he hit me, I hit him, but you know, you must just have the right way of hitting where it counts the most.
Turner, I want to ask, like, I mean, you have the craziest stories. How do you still keep sane? How do you come out and be such a sweet person that it's almost like I can't fear you anymore because the place in your heart right now
I must
speak from is
I
just
must
so
thank
crazy.
the Lord that He gave me such great grandparents and such great parents because they reared me with discipline. You know, and we had to adhere to it, you know what I mean? And they instilled it in me. Lavender couldn't take it out of me. When I went to prison also, prison couldn't take it out of me. I still did. I better say thank you. I had manners, you know what I mean? And I was a disciplined person. And the illiterate person, people that illiterate, can't read and write. You know, those guys were the guys that were struggling because if they put me in a single cell, I can read a book to pass time. Or I can talk to pass time because I knew I had to use words. I knew I had to read also. But now you get a person that can't read and write, then you put him in a single cell. He's most probably going to kick in a week or two. Because 23 hours in one single cell, you know.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. Prison and the way of life in prison. If you are more than, like me, I was more than 10 years in prison. So there is a effect that prison had on me. And what sickness I got is aggression. Aggression. That's my sickness. That's what. And I'm phobia. I don't want to get locked up. Even like my mom said, you're locked up, to say, Mommy, don't go like a warder. I'm just a jailer. I'm just a toothpaste. I don't want to get, so today you can go to my, I live at the baker or a place in the bungalow. There's no handle on the door. There's nothing to lock it. I don't agree with being locked up. I've got dogs here in my place, you know what I mean? Whenever somebody comes in the yard, the dog will bark and they will wake me up,
Yes.
Yeah, and I've still got that fear for somebody's going to be faster than me, somebody's going to be quicker than me, or somebody's going to, you know what I mean? Because, the thing that is going on in our community is all about paying back grudges, It's
Holding
all about-
on.
Yes, holding on to, you cross this guy, because this guy maybe stabbed your best friend, dead or paralyzed, whatever, and they keep it in the mind. We were like elephants, we remember you, we mark you. And if you see, hey, but you are the strong man by this group, we target you. You know what I mean? So that you must always make sure that there is more. If you're a guy of 30, then there must be actually 20 strong guys, because then they must go for 20 people one day. But if there's only one guy who's always shouting out the command and what to do and all that, then they're going to target you. Because without you there, who's going to think for them? And that was the mentality we had in prison, you know what I mean? We go for the top dog.
Makes
And
sense.
actually, by my rearing, how I was reared, and how I, there's other people who don't get visits, so we shared. I had always that thing of sharing. Whenever you don't get a visit, you don't get visitation of your people, you get nothing that you can buy by the shop. We as a collective group came together and we put all our things together and we use it together, we share with the people who hadn't also got, that made us, come and bond. Never mind, we were enemies outside, in prison, we were as one, under the rule of 28, and you had to be somebody who could do, most probably, anything in prison for survival. But it wasn't actually for survival because, you know what, at the end of the day, it was a indoctrination that was so sharp that you didn't see being indoctrinated.
Yeah.
It comes afterwards.
Yeah.
Like me, it comes, if I'm to think back, all the things that I went through in prison and how I survived in prison, then I must look up and thank the gods above. Because, for surviving all these things that I went through. And if I look back also, that is disruptive to a human's mind or a human soul, because you were reared in this way of discipline. In prison, you get the other way of discipline. This is the opposite.
Yes.
Where you have to say, excuse me, in prison you learn to swear. You can't be soft. They can't see softness in you in prison. Then they talk with you. It's like a dog. He smells you, you're afraid. Because your glands give off a certain scent. And he smells it, and then he bites you. It was like that with us. We learned to see who's afraid because your eyes will tell us, actually. Are you afraid or are you not afraid? And, somebody who shows afraidness, pound on him, bro.
It's done.
We pound on him. They target you. And let me tell you something. It's not easy. It was never an easy journey for me. Because you had to look at when the water was there and when the water wasn't there. These people wanted to hurt you. The waters can be right in front of them. They hurt you in front of the waters and take the hiding afterwards. Whatever comes their way afterwards, they take it. You know what I mean?
I just wanted to say that from me personally, I find that your resilience, your self-discipline, and I think going into discomfort in terms of taking the pain on in your life to make yourself stronger and never losing the internal who you are as a human is super inspiring. I don't think there's almost anyone that I've ever met in my life that's been through so much external pain, internal pain, abuse, all of those things, yet still is such a good person in terms of like helping the community. And even though you've had to go to the extreme of being extremely hard and, you know, cutthroat, anybody that does anything to you, you know, they're going to feel the pain. In some ways, I feel like it's only through going to that place, and correct me if I'm wrong, only through going to that place of having to be extremely tough that you can then feel comfortable within yourself to show your, maybe not within prison, but show your softer sides, because now you've been to the extreme hard level and you've seen what it is. So now you can bring it back and be loving and kind.
Yeah, you know, for the first 10 years in prison, it was a tough journey. But by adapting to prison life, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And becoming one of the guys who plans things. I was I'm a recruiter, recruits people to our organization of 28. I was, you know, and I was good at it.
Are you able to talk about those things?
What is it to hide? Because you know what? They say in the language of the number India Bandu, and it means the thing of the people. So why must we hide it from the people? If there is something in the number that they want to hide away, then you must know that isn't written as such. It must be done as such, because you get a lot of corrupt people also. Like you get a corrupt government, you get a lot of corrupt government in the number. People who want to do things to benefit them instead of to benefit the cause. Now I was very, I was onto the cause. No, we must survive as a collective. You know, as a collective we must survive. And I was adamant at that. We must survive as a collective group, not as an individual. You know, if you want individual name, you won't get it without pain. You know, pain is, you know, without pain there's no gain. That's why, you know, that you learn in prison, you know what I mean? You have to take the hiding or whatever. But let me tell you something. My upbringing, as such, you know, my upbringing is a lot of that. My upbringing, that, you know, I never lost it. I never lost that goodness inside of me. I believe in every man, there's still a little boy who's inside. You know what I mean? And I believe in every person who shows aggressiveness, is so soft inside. You know, I've learned through psychology, I've learned that you're just putting on a mask of being somebody who can be able to murder you. But when it comes to the murdering part, then you find yourself in the void of undeciding, you know,
uncertainty.
Uncertainty. You will only go when the others go, then you go. You know, you're more of a follower than somebody who initiates things. And that I've learned also to initiate. I've learned to take hiding for other people. I've learned to take punishment for other people, you know what I mean? And that instilled a kind of a way in me that I became someone who fought for people who was being oppressed by other people, you know what I mean? Like they say in Baas, was Zwitserlanders. And they say that we are the guys who must learn the other people the right and wrong of person, you know what I mean? And I came to that stage already when I was, say, 15, 16 years in the number. So I became very shocked in the number, and the number became part of me. Let me tell you something. For all these years that I was in prison, you can take me out of prison, but you can't take the prison out of me. So the mentality of prison is still inside of me. So that's why I can identify somebody who's on the wrong side of the road. I can identify him without asking him a question. Because this is body language and the things he doesn't do tell me more about himself as he will.
That's actually something I want to ask you. So what would you look for in terms of like recruiting people to the 28 gang?
Well, the first thing is this, what I'm trying to detect about you is what are you good at?
Mm.
Are you a good talker or are you a good doer?
Yeah.
What are the two things? We get two kind of people in our organization, is the doers and the thinkers.
Mm.
If you can think, cute thinking, how to do something, and if you do it and we succeed, then you're a good thinker, see.
Mm.
Then you get doers, people who does the thing.
Mm.
And you know, all of us have got goodness and badness inside of us. I reached that point when I was so used to prison that prison was almost like a norm for me, you know.
Yes. Desensitized. You
Yeah,
feel it.
yeah, it became my house.
Yes.
Mm.
I accepted it as such. The routine, whatever, I accepted that. You know what I mean? And I've learned to coerce with other people, you know what I mean? If we don't want trouble on the person here, we're going to see to it that no body who wants to do his own thing to get away here is going to do something negative that we must get punished with him. We don't allow that. You know what I mean? So we coordinate everything that we do.
Yeah. It's so interesting to watch how a lot of the things that you say in terms of working with people, in terms of detecting if you're a thinker or a doer, all of those things are so applicable to the way that we, or I think the way that we should live, where it's working with people, it's thinking about things, it's how you recruit people. It's so applicable to business as well. And I do want to get into how you're such an activist for your community and the things that you do, because in the car you were telling us about growing vegetables and things like that. So tell us about all the things that you do in the community.
Yeah, you see, in prison, we go through a lot of programs. Leather works, you know, I have to work with leather, you know, aggressive, I have to handle aggressiveness, you know what I mean? You have to accept what you don't want to accept. You know, we get a lot of kind of programs that they throw in prison. Not only through that, because I was a novelist.
Yes.
I love to read, but I don't have to read just fiction. You know, when I go to the library, I take me a fiction book, I take me a non-fiction book. You know what I mean? So my understanding of humans or of people, of communities, it was more acute than the normal guy, you know what I mean? Because I read books about it. I read books about psychologists, I read revolutionary books, the French Revolution, you know, all these revolutions from the beginning on. You know, and there was always somebody in the world wanted to take the world over, from Kublai Khan to, you know, to Hitler and to all these guys, Alexander the Great and all these guys. They just wanted to be the top dog, but nevertheless, you can't be one. You must be in a cohesive. That's why I also learned in books that a king rules over people. You know what I mean? And a king, if he doesn't rule properly, you know what I mean, you get toppled. Because you can see in all the royalty that was there.
Yes.
It's only England, I think, and Netherlands, and there's a few places where they can still be called king and that, because the royalty was like, you know, they were people who were very dangerous back in the day, you know. And I learned that Africa's people, you know, we were living a very simple life. And when the Europeans came onto our continent, you know, everything started to change, you know.
Yes.
We started to get the ability to think better, started the ability to can talk better, you know. And we grew up, now, you look into your mom's eyes and you lie to her. But you can't lie to your mom, never. She sees it straight through you. You know, there's one person who looks right through you. The man who can lie as good as you want to, but
You're not your mom.
you know, your mom will detect it. Because she gave birth, you know, that bond between you and your mother will never die out, you know. Because she can see you coming on. She will already ask you, what's your problem?
Yeah.
You never even talked about it.
You just open the door and she knows.
And she sees you, she say, what's your problem? Because she's seeing there's a problem coming.
Yeah.
Now, those things, those very smooth kind of a feeling that you can have over a person. You learn it in psychology, you know what I mean? Psychologists will always make you first at ease, take off your shoes, right? At ease. Now they listen to what you want to say. And what you are saying, they read, but not like you saying it, very where's it coming from? Why are you this? Why are you doing that? What triggers you off? You know, that's why you get a lot of categories in psychology like kleptomaniacs, sex maniacs, all these things. Because of your upbringing, things that happen to you in your young days, you always carry it over to you were brought up, you carry it with you. So there was another time when I was a kid and I said, one day when I'm going to be old, I'm going to move the step forward, man. But today I respect him with much respect because he has molded me to become a person who can understand what is it to get hiding. You can't just hit somebody and you think you're going to go free with it. You have to take punishment as a gift punishment. So there came a stage in my life that I was always a man that offered myself up for the sake of the survival of the majority.
Yes.
And that gained myself respect by these gangs because they saw live. You can always go to turn and ask them for help, there was one person that was almost like a lawyer because everybody called me up to court as a witness.
Yes.
Because the court people that is in the court, they don't know how we live in prison. Because they just listen to what the orders say and then they think what the orders say is right. But the order can be so wrong because the orders also there for the percentage of things that happen to you. Because these orders, they are also like 26, they like the 26s, they order like the 28s, now they...
Politics.
Yeah, prison politics, there's a lot of things that happen in prison that the orders must be blamed for. But they lock you up in they don't like you, they lock you up in a room, then they tell the inmate in the room, hey, you can fuck this guy tonight. Now when they put the mask on, then these guys say, hey, you heard the warden say that, so they can't even provide, you can't argue with the warden, so we have to fuck you tonight. You know what I mean? They put you in a situation by where you find yourself against a lot of people, but what I've learned through the years that I was in prison, that these are the same people that you walk with every day outside. When I came outside, I saw that there was no opportunities for me. I was still active in gang business, when I came out, we had a firm and, all these big guys, I went to them and, I was a bit active. But then I realized when I met other people who were struggling to get, get a soccer team together. But that I've learned in prison. I was a sport administrator for 10 years. I worked with abused men for almost most of my time in prison. So I've learned all these things and how to can identify somebody who's been done harm to and is trying to hide it away, you know what I mean? I can detect it because I look for the signs that the normal guy don't look for. And then psychology has done that to me. It opened up my mind to look, not with my eyes, because your eyes can be blinded. Magic is just the hand is forced in the eye. So in Afrikaans they say, jou oor kan gebedrieg word, jou ore kan gebelieg word, maar nie jou gevoel binne. That gut feeling. You read a novel that investigating officer, you say you follow this gut feeling. You never had you never had evidence, physical evidence, but he had this gut feeling and he must go, you scared him. That thing they can't detect the truth. You know what I mean? And that is how I came to be able to help prisoners. And also helping the prisoners.
Do you follow your gut feeling through life? Is that what sort of guides you in your life?
Yes, well? You know what? They call the woman's intuition is very sharp.
Mm-hmm.
Because the woman of our
A woman's intuition.
is very sharp.
Mm.
You know why? Because
Mother.
they take pain. They can't see the pain on their faces. They sacrifice and they go through hardships for what? For our survival. Their
Yes.
kids' survival. They take anything on. You know, that's why you must respect and look up to your mom. I had got the opportunity of doing that as a practitioner with my mom. She's 79 now. You
Yeah.
know, I'm going to have the opportunity to look after her.
Wow.
It's amazing, guys.
That's the best
It's
feeling.
amazing. You won't believe me. I've got nothing. But at the end of the day, somebody comes to me and he gives me this or he gives me that, you know what I mean? And I go out and share it.
Mm.
Because sharing is caring. You know, but
Yes.
you must care with your heart. With you.
Yeah.
The thing I'm doing here, I'm not doing it for gain and for money or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm doing it because I love doing it.
Yes.
It
Yes.
became a passion for me. Because these guys are all sitting here in the corner doing nothing. But when you just think about it, when you take to the open spaces in the communities and you dig there, you turn around as we learned it on the farm, in prison, you turn around the ground, you make it fertile, you plant something there, here comes the seed up, here comes the tree, and you know,
Yes, food.
a fruit, here grows a potato, whatever you see, here's the mountain, this is my tree.
Yeah.
You're going to go for it. You're going to look after that tree.
Yeah.
Nobody will even touch a bloody, a leaf of your tree because
Yes.
it's yours, you know.
Mm.
And so I began thinking about, hey, can't we do something other than because our community, our colored community, like as such, is so deeply rooted into being weird with each other, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Getting grudges and all these things, you know, that they forgot to look what they have. That they were looking for what they haven't got. What we have is open spaces. And we could have used that open space because I was in prison. I've been to work on a farm every day. So I've learned I had to plant the tree, you had to cut the tree, you had to enter it, you had to grapes. A lot of farms grow grapes, you know, any kind of fruit. You can plant it, you can take the orange tree and the lemon also grow on it. I never knew that. I learned it.
Mm.
And when people, when we started doing this community gardens, on the pavement is a bit of space on the pavement. You get the tar piece and then you get the piece that's empty. So we began to work with that empty spaces and plant things in there. And the other things grew up. You know, we've got, you name it, tomatoes. We've got this exotic small tomatoes who grow there. We've got
Oh, nice.
beans. We've got pumpkin. We've got cabbages. And so we came to that stage that we could supply the soup kitchens that is struggling to give the people food.
Beautiful.
You know, and so the initiative began to take hold of me and I began to initiate it. I met this young lady, Jeanette de Villiers,
Yeah.
Yes.
and she was so passionate about what I was trying to do. We were doing a documentary over tattoos and what the affiliation of tattoos means to the number.
Yes.
But she asked me personal questions also, like
Yeah.
who's more important for me in my life? I said, my mom. You know what I mean? It's the anchor of my life.
I wanted to ask you, just seeing as we're speaking about this pavement grow project, just for some of our audience members who are watching, what's the best way that we as viewers or as podcasters, what's the best way that we can help an initiative like that? Where a lot of people will worry if they're giving money, you know, there's corruption, the money's going to go to the wrong places, and, you know, there's all of this difficulty.
Yes.
How can we
Yeah.
help?
You know what, Mamru? In every community or every set of group of people, there is always going to be those who are negative and those who are positive. But the main thing of doing this, of asking other people to help, is to be transparent.
Yes.
Everybody must know what everybody is doing. Nothing must be done behind closed doors and let's see, here's the thing happening or where's the money going to. People must know what they put in is what they get at.
Yes.
You know, and they must know if there comes funding or whatever to them, they must know about it, it must be well boarded, it must be transparent as possible as it can be. And you will always get people, you know, it's not money that's the root of all evil. It's the love of money. That's the root of evil, my brother. Not money on itself. No way.
Ooh.
Because money gives you a
That's
statement of who you are.
Yes.
Money, you rightly put into right places,
There you
will
go.
grow people, you know what I mean? Money is so important to us. We actually pay also for the bloody oxygen that we are breathing, you know what I mean? Because that's so important that money makes, but the love of money, that makes people think more in a secure way.
What I can have.
Today, you know,
what is good for
you
me.
get a leader, he's a merchant, you know, his family is growing, but all the other guys around him,
Going down.
they're going down, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it's not a collective thing.
Yes.
Because one man is getting rich through others' sacrifices. You
Yes.
know what I mean? And that is the thing that must, you know, be looked at, and it must be worked at, you know, and our kids are the main, you know, the future. That me as you guys,
Mm.
Yes.
you, the tomorrow's leaders,
Mm.
you the tomorrow's whatever you're going to be, you the tomorrow's people. You know, and if we are going to bring you up sickly, you're going to be sick people at the end of the day. You know, and what psychology learned me is that look inside of you first. Find first that peace inside of you. Then you can preach peace. Find, I always say, try and find your center. The center is the space between right and wrong.
Mm.
And if you have that space, you've got balance.
Mm.
You.
You know what I mean? Then if you've got balance, then you can understand more acutely who you must, you know, talk aggressive with or who you must talk respectfully with. Then you will know the difference between the actual right and wrong. You can think wrong, then you're wrong.
Mm.
You know, I believe that the commandments that God sent to the people, we can't even keep 3 a day, man. So hard it is. You know, they are so ardent, the commandments. Yeah, I mean, the law, the people also. Every day you can do wrong by just thinking wrong, and by this guy who's not intelligent as you are, telling him that this is the thing that you must believe in. And he's going to believe in what? In something that has no ending or no beginning. You know? He's going to take on to that, because at the end of the day, he also wants to belong.
Yes.
The sense of belonging is so
Yeah.
important, you know what I mean? And if he belongs to a group of people who's creating like food, who's making food, you know, you can brag about it and laugh. You know what? My work that I do every day is trying to give food out to other people, growing it up in spaces that we usually just walk over.
Mm.
But now we're building a garden there.
Yes.
And you know what? What is the main thing about this? People are seeing it. Because we're doing it in front of them. They're seeing how this thing grows from small to big, and they're picking they're reaping what we're picking the rewards. And that
So good.
gives their mind other way of thinking. You know what I mean? And then they realize, hey, but I also got open space in my yard. And then we want to create, but it's still that, you know what I mean? It isn't hard to find what you're looking for.
I just want you to say something, Turner, just taking it back to you saying, you know, follow that gut instinct. And I have a feeling right now, something that's on my heart, which is, you know, like something that we're trying to do with this podcast is get so many different types of people on here to show that we all one in the same. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody will look at you, maybe be fearful of all the tattoos, fearful that you went to prison, or maybe meet you now and feel like you're such a sweetheart and all of these things. But honestly, that also speaking about that feeling of loneliness, and you saying belonging, which is basically the opposite. It's like, and also the balance between right and wrong. The way that I see it is, it's also a balance between feeling egotistical, where you think the whole world revolves around you, right? Which makes you almost one. You know, it makes you feel like you're the only one. I'm so special. Or feeling like you don't belong to anything, being narcissistic, like the whole world's going on and nobody loves me, and all of those things. Also finding the balance between that and realizing once you find that balance, that we're all just trying to find the balance because we're all the same types of people. I mean, listening to your stories, not the prison things and all of those things, but where you come from, seeing how learned you are, seeing the teachings that you just gave me now, all the lessons. I've gone to university. I've done all of these things. But the amount that I've learned from you has come from such a different background. That is so inspiring. It is so enlightening. It is like, I want to do everything in my power to help whatever it is that you're doing. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being the type of person that you are, regardless of the things that you've gone through. Because it's never too late to change. You know, you can always be more. You can always share. You can always be a kind person.
You can become rich without money, you know, because you know why? You think you can be poor in pocket, but rich in mind. If you got a holistically balanced mind, then whatever decision you take will be balanced. But if you're not having balance in yourself, you won't find balance in any other thing. You also might think of that this is shit that you are doing. But at the end of the day, when I looked at myself and how I was talking, so I saw something else. I saw that, hey, this is the right way to go. Because we can't let these kids grow up and saying that gangsterism and hurting each other and fighting each other is right. We are all human beings, one under God. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we're all human beings. We can differ from race, culture, degree, whatever, but we have to live in cohesion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to live in cohesion really is to be passionate about people.
Yeah.
And I've learned that whilst I was studying psychology, I've learned how to be passionate about people, you know, because it's people that you learn more from than what you will learn in books.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And experience, you can't buy it. You know, and the thing that I've experienced, my bro, doesn't give me the sense of that I must be a control freak or I must be a... No, it drives me away from that. The way my mind has opened up is that I must be one with the people. If I can't be one with the people, how can the people accept me as one of them? You know what I mean? Because if I'm going to do things that's going to hurt people and it's going to, you know, get into people's way of doing the right thing, then I'm going to be outcast. I don't want to live as an outcast. Because I need these people that you were hurting back in the day. I need them to progress in life. Because where am I going to learn from? It's from other people.
Yes.
Now, if you hurt other people, you won't learn the skill that he's got.
Yes. Because you can only experience so much. Like you've experienced so much, but it's still not half the things in life that you can experience.
Exactly.
So the only way to get a taste of that thing is to share with people, not just food and all of those good things, but experience.
You know what?
Talk that story.
You know what? There's one thing I want to tell you. If you become a father, the whole mindset of you changes. Because now, as you must be a provider. Because that's your child. Just you're hearing a child say, Daddy. You know, it crumbles you. You can be how hard and you can be this what weird guy, but by a kid. Now we used a thing in prison. We had the program, the best program that I ever had in prison was a thing of tropical fish. You know, building fish tanks and a therapy for an aggressive guy because you can't take a fish hard. You must work softly with the thing. And there's a bird project also in the medium people also where they give you African grey when it's this small and you rear it up, you know, you feed it with your mouth and the thing begin to talk. You are so overcared of this thing that you want the thing to survive.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Now if you depart with that bird, because you just get it for a certain time, they then sell it again to other people and people love a thing that was reared by the hand. Because it is more adaptable to people's way of life. Like a dog. You can't expect a dog just to sit and lay and go to the you must just learn that words. He learns the whole vocabulary, bro. I sit in the evening with the dog there, and I tell him, hey, you see that guy that come here every day, I tell him, more on baby, and the kid eat pussy. And believe you me, tomorrow, when the guy pauses, okay, you attack him. You just attack him, hey, I don't want to go hungry, man. And I've learned so much things about what it is, what does a bee means in our life? What does an earthworm mean in our life? If you don't plant the thing with love, you will never reap it. That thing will rotten down and die. You know what I mean? So you'll have to accept that the soil must be fertile, and if you don't feed that with love, they don't give you double the price back. You know what I mean? That's why I believe that our farmers are one of the most important people of sustaining our lives with food.
Yes.
Food is the most important thing, you know what I mean? And like in the olden days, man, when we were sick, they didn't take us to a doctor, they just took a leaf off from this tree and a root from that tree, and they mixed it together and
Sorted.
it's sorted out.
Yeah.
The very things that the old people used to tell us about what we must do with this leaf and that leaf is being produced on a big scale.
Yeah.
You get cannabis now, you get cannabis in every medicine usage. But
Yes.
they were so against cannabis all these decades. We had to have a few decades back. And we had cannabis legalized. Then the cannabis carries such a strong, resilient thing for the body. You won't believe me. You know, people with asthma, if they have this wild cannabis growing and they drink the, you know, you boil it up and you drink it, you can see what it does to asthma. You know what I mean? And it does a lot of things.
So I have asthma, and I've never heard that before. So maybe, what does it do? Does it help with the asthma?
Yeah, of course, because, you know, asthma goes with your breathing.
Yes.
Goes in the chest, you know, and I suffer under, you know, with you know, what do you call it now? But nevertheless, cannabis has this component in it that you can use in any kind of way. Yeah, you get a cannabis drink, you get a cannabis, don't do it, you know.
I want to put more. Yes.
You learn
Thank you.
to, you know, that's why I say we are teaching our kids to another thing, and that's phones. You know, they don't read as much. But I'm telling you now, through reading, if I become a self-learned man who's reading, and you read a variety of things, then you come to know yourself better. And so, knowing yourself better, you can reach out. And this is one thing that you must always be aware of. You must always go through the day things that you thought maybe you just by mistake forgot where you've done wrong. And if you can just tell, you may have truth for yourself.
Yes.
Then you can be true unto others. You must first love yourself so you can show love.
Yes.
You must first respect yourself so you can be respected. You know, it's a thing that goes hand in hand, you know, it's a cohesive thing. You know, you can't look at the elderly man who's living in the streets and then you want to treat him as dirt. Give him respect. You know, if you show respect to such people who you think is low lives, and you might just touch that person's heart, and then that person stands up. Right? That's the thing that you told him that is positive. Don't tap on a person who's already down. No, give your hand down. You know, you will always get this, the negative and the positive. In every one of us. You can be aggressive and you can be good. You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's just a thing that's triggering the lack of intelligence, the lack of education. That's why I always tell our youngsters, don't eradicate yourself, but educate yourself.
Yes.
Which is what I was going to ask you. What do you think is, if there was one solution, and there's obviously, you need many to help a community that's been ravaged in terms of lack of knowledge, all of these things, what do you think is something that, let's say with the Lavender Hill community, what do you think would be a big solution towards helping the youngsters realize that they can be more, help them. What would be something? What do you think?
You see, first and foremost is this: we must try and live in a cohesive life. We must try and live with each other, without each other. You know what I mean? And those who have and those who have not, let's come together. Because they must try and all people that have, how did you get to what you have, and why am I not getting what I want? You know what I mean? And self-learn people, you learn. There's a lot of things, like in my community, the people throw old clothes away and on an everyday basis. But that old clothes, you can pick it up, wash it there, dry it there, you cut it into squares, put it in plastic bags. Every day the mechanic and the painters need rags, man. Because it is a rag. That is something that I've learned in prison. To make something out of nothing. You know what I mean? There is nothing actually. It is something. But it's not seeable. But when you make it seeable, everybody wants a piece of it.
You know, that's so interesting that you say that. There's I don't know if you know him, but you're a leader of young men, like through and through all of your actions. And there's somebody that I like to listen to called Jordan Peterson. I don't know if you'd be familiar with what he says. He speaks very directly to young men, saying that the biggest thing that they can do in life is to take responsibility.
Of course.
Because one of the biggest problems with our young men in all countries is because there's so many phones and everything is easy, all of them run away from responsibility. They feel like to be the best man, they need to fuck all the girls and drink a lot and run away from becoming a man. And one of the concepts that he says in How to Take This Responsibility is something like the Philosopher's Stone, which is where they take a base metal and then all these magicians back in the days, they used to try to use this stone or create this stone that will turn it into gold. But what you're just saying now about saying you see this cup and maybe it's broken and then you take the pieces and you make it into a piece of art, like a tile, that is almost taking something that's just something like nothing and making it into gold, which is just so like a very interesting combination.
Exactly. You know what is the future success of people is the cohesiveness of them living together, and the cohesiveness of thinking together, and the cohesiveness of accepting that you are better equipped than I am. So uplift you, then I can uplift myself. You know, that is the thing. We must admit to ourselves that look at this guy, he's good at what he's doing. So I've got something to learn about him. You aren't all known or whatever, because we get we get tutored in a certain way. Then I identify that you got very good engineering thinking, way of thinking, suits an engineer. Then they tutor you into that, or it comes from within. But the most important thing is for parents to rear the kids up with strong and very strong values of life. You know what I mean? Because it's our young people who is very disruptive. Because they changing from a young man to elderly man. The change from a son to a father. Some of us can't cope with the change.
Yes.
And the change that comes forth is natural. We must accept it. If you can't accept who we are, then we won't accept who another person is.
Would you say that it all just comes through educating yourself?
Of course, if you look around you, I look around you guys and where you are now, it's educating. This is educational. You've got such a diverse. I walked into your lands and I saw, Gothic, Chinese, African, everything is in one lounge, you know what I mean? And by identifying these things, it gives me a sense of power, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know where this comes from.
Yes.
I know about this, I know this,
Yes.
you know, and we can only learn more. You get geniuses, you know, kids that is 5 years old that can, you know, you can ask him whatever you want to ask him about mathematics, he'll answer you. You know what I mean? You get slow thinkers and you get fast thinkers. We must just be able to identify these things and, you know, fulfill the gap where the other one is lacking. And stop fighting each other. But at the end of the day, we need each other.
100%.
How much time do we have left?
We've got, we just need to take a break in 5 minutes just to.
You just want to bring it to a
cameras.
close?
I think for the session we've about an hour now, so we're just going to stop quickly, take 5 minute break, need the bathroom or something, then we'll sit down and we start again.
And I need something to fill my tummy, you know.
Yeah, we've got some food.
Go on, drive with that petrol.
You know,
Of
so
course.
what we can do is we can bring this one to a close, have him back on.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make some food.
Actually, I was going to go to KFC.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I just want to ask one
My
question.
bro, have you guys got yesterdays?
Huh?
Have you guys got yesterdays?
No, we
Hey,
work.
Eat all of it.
We only cook enough
Okay, yeah.
to eat. And
Yesterday.
That's why the people of yesterday is good today. I always tell my mom this, Mom, this up, keep your little tomorrow. That food of yesterday is today.
Yeah.
Better than eat.
Yes.
You know what
The best.
Yesterday's, you know.
Just to bring it to a close, first of all, thank you so much for being here.
I must thank you guys
But
for bringing the best out of me, you know what I mean? Is you make me feel at ease.
Thank you.
You accept me as the person I am.
yes, love the person.
We love the person.
I do love you too, you know. Back in the day when me and Junaid met for the first time, you know what I mean? I'm not a closed door. I like to be open because I love people. I like to work with people.
Yeah.
You get different kinds of people.
Yeah.
You know, if you get somebody who's negative about you, don't you also go into the negative vibe. Keep positive, man. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You
So true.
never mind, he won't tell in front of you that you were right, but when he comes alone and he goes over it again and he says, "Oh, I was all wrong there." When he comes again and say, "Sorry, man, whatever."
Yes.
That's what I do today, and it instills a kind of, you know, it instills in me a kind of discipline I must have, because we are not always out of the same characters. Our characters change, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What you like is not what I like, and you know, and we must understand it. We must give each other space. And the main thing that we must always concentrate on, make space for human error. Because we're not perfect.
Yes.
Yes. We're not perfect.
Beautiful.
You must make space for human error.
Yeah.
You know, you can be so wrong and still be on the right track. But just by a few words lacking, you go on the wrong curve. But that doesn't say you can come back on the right curve. You can come back. You know?
Yes.
That's why the rule of life is that if you want to live, let others also live. You know? Richard, you know, I've learned that today. I've learned a lot of things. Being older and being more, you know, like identifying the smaller things in life is by growing bigger, you know, and not just taking the big things out and then forget where that small thing is, because that small thing is the main component of the big thing. You know what I mean? There's a way of life, you know?
You don't understand the amount of, like, I have goosebumps throughout this entire thing. The things that you're saying, it resonates so much with who I am and the things that I try to do on a daily basis. It is so inspiring. But just to end this off, or maybe on a fun note, your tattoos. So I watched the previous podcast that you did, and you said that you
anytime, guys.
With Josh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out.
no,
By the way,
anytime,
podcast.
you know.
shout out.
No, anytime, you know, because, you know what, our colored people, if they see tattoos on you, they are affiliated with gangsterism. You know, the more educated people, you know, if they see tattoos, they see a work of art. You know what I mean? And I've come to learn about, I'm also a tattooist, you know, do tattoos, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I've done it all the time in person, you know,
Yeah.
with the hand, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
And, but that was of the cheapest idea just to get to you so they know where you belong.
Oh,
You know what I mean? But today, if I look at a person one as a tattoo of maybe a gangster and they tell my brother, you know what you're doing here? You are minimizing your space that you're roaming in. Because now this guy who's got this tattoo, everybody can see it. You can't now roam over onto that ground with the guy with other tattoos off.
Yeah. You're blocking yourself.
You're blocking yourself. You're minimizing your space.
Yeah.
Your own space. You know, because as Bob Marley used to say, your worst enemy can be your best friend, and your best friend your worst enemy. You know what I mean? It's a fact of life. It's a fact of life, you know. Only your friends know your secrets. It's only you who could reveal it. So you must have the balance of deciding. You know, God gave us the thing. He chose like a nation. But that nation, you know, denied his, you know, like Jesus. But now he gave us now this opportunity. You decide. If you take the right decision, you get the right consequences. If you take a wrong decision, you get wrong consequences. The thing that we must adapt to is our decisions, we must face our consequences and not play the blame game. Blame first yourself, because everything that happens to you, you have got a percentage towards it.
Ooh,
you know?
Karma.
Yeah, you have got a percentage towards it. Because this thing that is happening to you is rather by you letting it happen and doing nothing, you just letting it happen.
Yeah.
Or by indirectly, you have a percentage of guilt to it.
Yes.
So we must be careful that sometimes we think we're right and we're on the right track, but then we've got the right mind, but we're on the wrong track. So you must watch the track onto and yeah, that's the thing.
So which tattoo is your favorite?
My favorite tattoo is actually the one in front of my head.
Yeah.
No, it's a skeleton head. He's playing a flute. He's death song. Like, you know, the American Indians, before they die, they would sing a death song.
Yeah.
Now, those people back in the day, you know, if they caught you and you were a strong guy, they knew you had a strong spirit. So they took your spirit unto them, you know what I mean? And playing a death song is you preparing to go to another life, you know what I mean? It was one of my favorite tattoos.
There's one question that I'd really like to ask you, and I've never had the opportunity to ask somebody that's been in such close contact with death, because I'm sure that from a young age, from the stories you told us earlier and from the life that you've had the opportunity to live, death has always been a very close part for you of life. So for you, how do you find freedom in a place that could cause a lot of fear? Because a lot of people, I think even with coronavirus now and with all of these things, death is something that people fear a lot. It's something that causes them to sort of close up. Whereas for me personally, through my life experiences and the things that I've been through, I find as the knowledge that I'm going to die is almost the biggest freeing aspect for me. If ever I'm feeling trapped or uncertain or fearful, I sort of go back into that place in myself, and I know at some point I will die, and that's almost the biggest freeing part for me.
Yeah.
How do you have that relationship?
It was brought up and everything that I went through the years.
Yes.
I came to that stage where you accept. You live to die.
Yes.
It's just a thing in between. Where you come from, that's why they say destiny lies in your hands. It's going to be you or be the cause of your death. Whether through what? Living wrong, picking up sickness, or being aggressive and trying to beat other people and they beat you back. You die, you know. It lies in your hands. Whether you're going to be spiritually or you're going to embrace life as it is and just know that you've got the journey is going to end. But it's not the end of your journey actually, because then life actually begins really in the spiritual realm, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's the thing that you must actually accept as a fact of life, you know what I mean?
I love that.
I love that too.
I think we're gonna bring this. It's been amazing, but we're gonna bring this 4th edition of the AIM podcast to an end.
I love the name, AIM.
Yeah, so it
Yes.
stands for All Is Mine.
Yeah, AIM
Yeah.
is so great name because we must aim always the right direction.
Yes.
Aim always to do right. You know what I mean? Never mind if you do wrong today without you knowing it, you wrong somebody. But at the end of the day, if you put in a broader perspective and say, hey, but you wrong this guy, go tomorrow to him, you're not going to lose your life. You're not going to be a lesser of a man if you ask him to forgive you. You know what I mean? That is actually the main thing that made me more human than what I actually was beginning to become, of not forgiving and being hatred. And then, you know what it goes? Now I believe everything that happens to me, I brought unto myself.
Accountability.
Accountability, my brother.
Because if you
Responsibility.
take accountability, you have the power within yourself now to change the things that's happening.
And our life that we are living is very important for those who are still going to live.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We go away, but we leave what we leave behind is our way of life and how we've done it. We leave a legacy behind. That's why education is a thing from, back in the day. Or you go back, you learn it through years, experience you can't buy in any shop. You must go sell and experience it. But the most important thing is this: you have to love yourself. To belong to a collective loving people. You know what I mean? That's the main thing, and you must know your place in society. And never mind, it looks for you how small. The smaller it is, the bigger impact it has at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful note to end on. Turner Adams, thank you so much for being on our
Yes.
podcast. Thank you so much for being the person that you are. You will forever, and I mean forever, have a place in, I know, both of our hearts. And we'll take the lessons, definitely, that I've learned from you today and from the first time that we met for the rest of my life. And I hope and I'm sure it will mold me into a person that I want to become.
You know what? You guys are empowering me in ways that you won't know. Because to see you two guys go easy with each other and doing this is actually medicine for people yet to come, for those who are learning to become something. If they can look back and look at this podcast and hear the messages that goes out, and it must trigger somebody, somewhere, someplace, that, hey, I'm on the wrong path, you know what I mean? Why can Turner be that and not me?
Exactly.
I never knew in my whole life I was going to be an actor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, the gods blessed me with being that, and being in four corners has opened the door so wide open for me that I embrace that now. And I thank the God for giving me this opportunity that I can share with the youth and the upcoming communities or whatever, that we must always look into ourselves and try and find a solution in ourselves. Then we can identify a problem in somebody else, you know what I mean?
Yes,
And
that's true.
I thank God that I got to meet you, sir.
But
Yes,
he's
sir.
great, man, bro.
Thank you so much for
The
being
Lord is
Thank
great,
you,
so
sir.
thank you, man.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
See you, man. On the other side. I'll get you on the rebound.
Where's yes?